And we're live. This is the Self-Publishing Roundtable, and welcome to this episode of Hey, What's New? We've got several people in the panel tonight. We have Krishan Hannakeller, we have Erica Conroy, we have Zoe York, and I'm your co-panelist who will pretty much shut up after we get the introduction going. And for people who can't see it, oh, I wish you could see it. Krishan is pointing at all the people. Say hello, Krishan.
Hello, Krishan.
Say hello, Erica.
Hello, Erica.
Say hello, Zoe.
Hello, Zoe.
Yes. Good night, Gracie. If you're really old, you get that joke. I'm Robert Chaz-Chute, and we have Zoe as a special guest on this episode. Right up front, everybody listen very carefully to the sound of my voice, wherever you are, all the ships at sea. I want you to listen very carefully to this message. At the end of this podcast, we will blow your mind. Something huge is coming. It will shake the earth. The skies will open. The ground will open up. You must listen to the end of this podcast for a very special announcement, which will affect each and every one of you to your soul. And everyone watching us live on Self-Publishing Roundtable, we encourage you to leave questions and comments, and we will make our best efforts to get them into the conversation, because that's the kind of hairpins we are. And welcome to the news. Erica, what is our first?
Actually, we have to go to Krishan because we have an advertisement we have to read.
Oh my God, a sponsor. Yes, a heavenly sponsor. A sponsor that's truly from the gods. Krishan, please enlighten us.
Yes. Chris from Escapist Reads gave us money dollars to tell us about all the times he's heard about folks in self-publishing and book blogging who are unhappy with their current site hosts. From poor performance to faithless supports, he's heard it all. But, Escapist Reads hosting, Chris has tried to change all of this. And this has started as hosting for friends and colleagues, and now it's open to any member of the indie author community and for the book blogging community. They are dedicated to providing you, the indie author or the book blogger, with the WordPress hosting you need. So you have one less thing to worry about, because we all have things to worry about. All plans have WordPress installed and ready to go. Standard hosting is $5 a month. And for $10, Chris will handle the upgrades and the backups for you. Take the $10 a month. Let me tell you, as someone who works with WordPress, you will thank me, and you will thank him. It's worth the $5. All plans offer 2 months free when you pay annually. And for all this, more information, visit escapistreads.com, escapistreads.com for more information. And take the upgrade. Remember, seriously.
Or we'll come to your house.
I ain't going nowhere. I just don't want to hear when you talk about your updates.
Okay, sure. With that rousing introduction and equally informative advertisement, let's get into the roundtable for the news. So we're starting with Amazon, of course, because it's all Amazon all the time. So this American Thanksgiving has been and gone, and of course, Amazon has reported their best ever shopping holiday weekend, especially for their Amazon devices. Last year's sales were impressive, but this year they made over twice the number of sales. The Echo Dot, Amazon Fire TV Stick with Alexa voice remote, Fire Tablet, and Amazon Echo were not only the best-selling Amazon devices, but they were the best-selling products from any manufacturer in any category across all of Amazon. So did anyone here benefit at all from the Cyber Weekend or Cyber Monday, whatever you want to call it? Okay, Krishan, okay, Krishan, go.
This girl right here bought 3 Echo Dots. I already had the full-on Echo in my house, and that thing has not stopped playing heavy metal. Really? No, I bought it with my husband. It sits about 10 inches high. And sorry about that.
Echo, 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 echo.
It seems we have some audio issues. Someone's
Someone's
headphones
headphones
could be plugged
could be
in.
plugged in.
It's not me.
It's not me. Is it me? It's always me, isn't it? I hate headphones. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. Okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just about 10 inches high. And I brought it in, and Bill is like, what is that? I'm like, that is Alexa. And I introduce him to Alexa. Alexa says hello. He says, play Round and Round by Rat. And that was the end of it. Seriously. I got one, and now I bought the little dots so I can have one in each, in my kitchen, one in my bedroom, one in my office, and one in my daughter's house, because she wanted one as well. They were $40, and it will do everything. It will do your it will play your podcast. It will read your books for you. It will literally read your Kindle books for you, and then it will play your audiobooks as well.
I have a question. With this technology, will it answer to the name Jarvis?
No, not. But the Google one, you can change the name. But this one, her name's just Alexa, and yeah, she'll just do that. I don't like Jarvis anyway, because
I'm going to have a hard time living out my Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark, playing Iron Man, playing Robert Downey Jr. fantasy.
Oh, that's okay. You know what this? You know what will clear you of that? Listen to the Cardigans version of Iron Man. Yes, you will lose all of that. You will not thank me for it. But absolutely, yes. Amazon, their deals were incredible. There was a, I'm sorry about all the ums. There was a thread on Facebook within all the Presbyterian moms of little children about how you've got it. Yeah, I'm Presbyterian. I know a lot of moms of little children, but talking about the Instant Pot. That thing went on sale for $70, down from $150, and Presbyterian women all through Austin and the greater Central Texas area lost their shit over it. Seriously, like, you need to buy this.
I saw a lot of chatter about the Instant Pot as well. You know what I didn't see a lot of chatter about, though? Mm-hmm. I did not see a lot of chatter about the 7-inch Fire, which was like $33.
Right.
I know. And I bought one.
How did you buy one? Where did you ship it to?
Well, actually, technically, I bought one for one of the giveaway winners, and I was like, holy shit, $33.33. I'm making a profit. I'm making a profit. But no, yeah. In New Zealand, New Zealand Postal Service will provide you with an American address that you can get American things sent to, and then they ship it to you in New Zealand. So you should see if Canadian Post will do that.
Yeah, no, we don't have that. Canada Post is like they're a bunch of meanies. I did think about buying the Echo Dot, and I was going to ship it to a friend, and then they'd ship it to me. I didn't because I wasn't 100% sure about how I could use it here. Like, I started to read, and then I got kind of bored and distracted. I think that the next time that they go on sale, I will get them. And I think that, and we talked about this on another podcast, I think that this is a really key point. So this is like, how many times now have the Fire Sticks gone on sale and the, you know, all, and the Amazon Fires, and every time they go on sale, they sell a huge number, and it's still only a small percentage of the people out there, like Amazon's audience, right? We're still at the early adopter stage of all of this technology, you know?
Can you check your mic connection, Zoe? I'm getting.
Can I hear me?
You went straight time on us.
You got a robot a voice instead of your voice, and I prefer the robot voice, but for the podcast, we should have your voice.
Okay, is the echo gone now if I unplug my headphones?
Actually, it is gone. Sounds good. Oh, maybe not.
No, maybe not. If you're talking, it's fine. When you're not talking, please mute yourself. So you're not talking now.
She's scared to now. That's too bad. That robot voice was really awesome. Anyway. Well, I think that there's. I kind of saw this coming in the summer because Author Strong podcast said there was some discussion about Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and they helpfully suggested, maybe you should plan for Black Friday and Cyber Monday and get book sales set up for those days when people are in a buying spree. And Erica did, and I didn't. But I'm keeping it in mind for next year because, but I guess now I don't know that it's really confined. Like if you miss the sale, you don't have to kill yourself because every Friday is Black Friday. And like, for instance, I'm doing all my Christmas shopping online now. I hate the mall. I'm not going to the mall. Forget the mall. Mm-hmm. Other F words to the mall. I really enjoy it. Like when I was looking for, my kids asked me for what my Christmas presents should be, and I thought, well, I don't know, but I don't have to go to the mall. I can Google that or just check on Amazon and say gifts for men, and it gives you a Christmas list. And I came up with stuff, and I sent them links in an email to the family and said, here they are. I've made it easy for you. I ordered a snowblower and got it in 2 days. It's in a big box by my desk. I now have a snowblower. I'm waiting for the blizzard. Oh yeah, I can't wait. We'll have a green Christmas, but then after that, it all goes to hell. So between that, I had an old Kindle. I had one of those ancient Kindles that had the tiny little buttons that are too small for human hands. And now I've got the Kindle Paperwhite, and it is awesome. Just life is better when we live online. I don't like going outside. Nobody does. Forget that. Now, one other point that I wanted to touch on, particularly for Zoe. You mentioned that the Canada Post will not redirect stuff for us. There is one other option in particular for people who live close to the border, like you and I do, because Zoe and I are in close proximity. We're only an hour from all the craziness that is south of us. No offense, Krishan, but it's true.
You're close enough to the dumpster fire to feel the warmth. Yes, you will.
That's right. Whenever I watch American news, I think, oh my God, they're only an hour away. I mean, all my American friends are welcome to come to Canada, but where am I going to go to? I can't afford to live in Iceland. So New Zealand, I'll keep it in mind. Hey, your economy is supposed to be pretty good. Anyway, for Canadians who live close to the border, if you're in southwestern Ontario anyway, there is a company in Port Huron, which is just across the border, like 5 minutes from the border. There's a company where they will receive your stuff, and for a really cheap price, you can go pick it up. So if there's stuff that you want to ship from the glory that is America, because they have stuff that we don't, like 187 kinds of cereal, 187 kinds of Oreos, anything you want, you get it sent to that one spot, and you can go pick it up, and for like $5 or whatever, you can then sneak it back across the border customs. I'm just kidding.
Awesome. And to take it back to what you said, Robert, about setting up sales and stuff, I set up one of our multi-author cross promos to happen from the 25th of November to the 27th of November. And then I realized, oh, that's Thanksgiving weekend for Americans. This is either going to be a good thing or a very bad thing. Mm-hmm. And it turned out to be quite a good thing. Most of the authors who were involved reported a lot of downloads, and we also got them a lot of signups. And I was also able to get one of the winners a discounted Kindle Fire, which made me very happy. I was like, to my husband, I'm only spending $33 American dollars and 33 American cents here.
I'm going to piggyback on Zoe's point about how, yes, all of this new technology is very, very new. And we are still the early adopters. Not only are we the early adopters of the technology, but as artists, we are the ones who have the power to shape how this is being used. For example, I accidentally found out that a Kindle could be read to me, right? A Kindle book could be read to me. And I since have been using it as an editing tool. And I decided that I was going to write a short and offer one of those dots as a prize, and give them instructions on how to have my books read to them. And it makes it nicer and more an all around useful thing than having just the Kindle, because everybody is doing the Kindle Fires, right?
Because it's so inexpensive.
Huh? They're expensive.
Because they're inexpensive, the Kindle Fires at the moment. Even at normal price, they're about $50 for the entry level one.
Right. But for that same $50, you get a dot too. And all I have to do is sit up there and launch a new book and let you know, oh, hey, on the Kindle, go ahead and ask for Daughter of the Flood. Ask to read Bound with Twine on Kindle, or the Story Mother's Guide. And it just reads it to you. The way we are consuming, it is changing. And this allows us to get in and start to shape how we want our audiences to do that. And also the way they use it will shape how we end up writing as well. You want to add something to that, Zoe? Because this was your point.
I'll unmute myself just long enough to make this point. Yes, and on that point, I think we're going to see a lot of new advancements in the voice technology in the next couple of years. Google, somebody, either Google or Apple just launched something.
Googled it.
And it's like, no, it was Adobe. It was Adobe, and it's the Photoshop. It's like they were calling it Photoshop for voice, and it was freaky. So all they needed was a short sample, and then this program could make new words, and it sounded just like the guy. So in a couple of years, we're gonna have totally synthesized audiobooks that we can create. Now, we're also going to be competing with technology that can read our books for free. And when you think about how much money we're paying real live narrators right now, all of that's going to change, for better or for worse. I kind of feel bad for the narrators. I mean, I always feel bad for people when they're, but it's going to be really interesting over the next couple of years, all that technology stuff. And yeah.
So just when ACX finally lets Canadians into their treehouse, we won't need them anymore. Great. Screw them.
Has anyone here tried the Amazon marketing service? Because that's just recently, it was recently set up so only those who had books in Kindle Select could use it, but now it has gone wide. So your book does not need to be in Select to use it. So Zoe, how have you found that?
So my experience with the Amazon ads is actually pretty good, which I wasn't expecting, because I'd heard really kind of blah things from people. What I have discovered, and this kind of reinforces what I understand about book marketing in general, is Amazon ads are kind of similar to Facebook ads, or I assume Google or Twitter ads, although I've never really gotten into either of those, in that they work best for a product that is a good cold sell. So I have really good results with the Amazon ads for my Ainsley books. There's something about my Ainsley books that appeal to an audience that I am able to isolate and say, here, you might like this book. And they go, hey, yeah, I might like that book. Oh, one click. And so I'm turning a positive return on investment on those ads with only a little bit of tweaking to the ad copy, which I was really pleasantly surprised at. So I think if you sell or if you write in a genre where audiences are willing to try a new author, then it's not a bad way to put your book in front of the fans that you like. A couple of the pros that I have noticed in it. One, you can target any author by their keyword, like using their name as a keyword. They don't need to be big. Like with Facebook, you can only target authors who are big enough to be declared an interest. But in Amazon, You can target me. I don't know why you would, but you could. And the interface is really easy to use. It takes like 2 minutes to set up an ad. So you can, with unlike Facebook ads, which like take hours of your soul-sucking time, and you did it wrong anyway. And with Amazon, there aren't a lot of different options. They always charge cost per click as opposed to impressions, which is good. Particularly, it's really good if you get your ad copy wrong, because then you see that you got it wrong because you get a good amount of impressions, but nobody's clicking. You don't pay for that, right? You're only paying for the click. So I really like that. What I don't like is that I cannot seem to scale up my investment in those ads. So I set my daily budget at like $20 a day, for example, for an ad. I set my cost per click pretty generous, I think. Like they give you a range, like between 20 and 60 cents. And I'll say as high as 60 cents. Like I'll go to the top end of the range. I'll set my budget at $20 a day, and Amazon will spend $4. And I'm like, Amazon, show my book to more people. So then I give them more keywords. I'll stuff it full of keywords for them to try. And they'll spend 21 cents over here and $3 here. The most I've ever gotten is like $7 a day on an ad. So I'm seeing a nice positive return on investment, but on a $7 a day ad, I'm not retiring on my Amazon money. So that's the one downside. The other downside is that they are pretty tight on what covers you can advertise. So can't be naked chest, can't be guns, can't even be kissing.
They can't even be wearing bathing suits.
Yeah, so there's lots of weird restrictions there, and a little bit of that is trial and error. There's also some really funny rules about what the ad copy can and cannot contain. For example, you can't quote a review, which is weird, I think. So it's worth reading their guide on how to create the ad content before you spend some time writing copy that isn't legit. What you can do, here's an interesting thing, you are allowed to mention that you're a bestseller as long as you reference a date. So we have one ad running for Prime Minister that the ad just says USA Today bestseller, and then in brackets June 9th, 2016. That ad has a really good return on investment. And there's no other room for any other ad copy. I didn't think it would work, but again, you're not spending a lot of money, so it's worth a try. And then my last point about the Amazon ads, because this is what I learned, they do report your return on investment. So you'll see what you spend, and then you'll see the direct sales that came from those clicks. But that report, the sales report, is like 2 days behind because I turned off some ads and then sales funneled in. So you have to be really patient, give it a solid week. So set your budget accordingly that you can afford to kind of let it run for a week and then make a determination about whether or not it's worth continuing. That's it. That's all I got.
That's a lot.
I was an early adopter to the Amazon ads, and when they started up, they sucked. I have recently experimented, and I found that they're much better than they were. I was getting a return on investment. Sometimes it was a little bit, and sometimes it was a little bit more. On some other popular podcasts, I've heard people say several interesting things. One was that you can't believe the stats that you get from it, and they don't know what they're doing. That was from Sell More Book Show. We'll have another story that's related to that issue in a few moments. So stay tuned for that interesting segue. The other thing was we had Wayne Stinnett on our show, and he said, just to back up what Zoe's saying, is give it time, leave it alone, because sometimes you can quit too quickly if it doesn't seem like it's paying off. His advice was to let it run a little while. And another person from the Sell More Book Show recently was saying that he didn't recommend that you run ads on free books. Well, I did have a book that was, I can't remember whether it was 99 cents or free. It was really low. And I ran an ad on it, and that worked. I think it was free, actually. But my reasoning for that was it was first in series.
Mm.
And so if they click on that, they'll click on and read the other books and buy the other books at regular price. So that was fine. I did find out that one of my books I can't advertise on Amazon because it's called Self-Help for Stoners, and you can't promote something that is drug positive on Amazon. So go out and buy that and protest, people. And Self-Help for Stoners by Robert Chester. Yeah, some of the guidelines are a little bit crazy. Not having a gun, but I think a sword is okay because I advertised Haunting Lessons that had a sword on the cover. So
it's one of those ones where I just read it recently too, and it says that the weapons cannot be portrayed in a menacing manner. So
yes, it can't be pointed.
If it's pointed at the reader or something like that, then that's considered menacing. But I guess if it's in a holster, then it's not so menacing.
Or if you hold it in the James Bond across your chest sort of thing where it won't hurt anybody. I do think that those sorts of restrictions, it'll be interesting when the revolution comes and we live in a Mad Max apocalyptic scenario where we will be free of this nonsense, because I don't think people are quite that sensitive and idiotic that if they see an ad for a mystery or thriller and there's a gun on the cover that they drop dead on sight. They do know that covers aren't real, but maybe that's just me.
Amazon's website, Amazon's rules.
I understand that. I just think it's stupid.
Fair enough. Okay, Zoe, you had your hand up there. What have you got to say?
So a couple of things that I forgot to mention in my long blah, 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 blah. I ran ads on What Once Was Perfect, which is Wardham Book 1. I ran like in November 4th or whatever, when we realized that AMS was open. I ran an ad then for What Once Was Perfect when it was free, and it was like a dismal return. I didn't see a single. I spent like $100 over 2 weeks, and I didn't see any lift on the next book in the series. And that they, of course, they don't report a return on investment on a free book because there are zero sales, from that. So I turned that off, and then I just switched which book in the series was free. So now book 1 is no longer free, and now I'm running an ad for it again, a different ad copy. So I can't say for sure that it is better, that it's for sale. But now I'm actually seeing sales on that book from that ad. So that's just one, anecdotal data point. Mm-hmm. But at least for me, the freebie has been, I concur with what Robert heard on other podcasts. So I'm also running an ad right now on another first in series free, and it's like nothing. Like the only reason why I kept the ad running was because we ran a Black Friday sale on the rest of the books in the series, and so now I'm gonna let it run to the end of this week. So I'm gonna probably turn the ad off tomorrow. Because I just think that I think that the people, there's something about a freebie book like that. They're not in the mindset of clicking there for freebies. They're not used to, remember, free books very rarely show up in also bots too. So I think that they're like, what's going on? And, they're not looking for the free books there. They never see free books in those strips. I don't know. And it could also be that it's just something weird about the population behavior right now, and it's something worth retesting every couple of months, because what if a free ad starts to work, then that would be gangbusters, right? But so far my data is like,
I had another thought. Thank you, Zoe. 2 things. Quickly. If an Amazon ad seems to work well, that might be a great testing ground for what you put in your Facebook ad.
Mm-hmm.
And Zoe is making I said something right look. So it doesn't happen often, so I'm just going to savor this moment for a second. Okay, and good. I've touched my nipples. I'm good. And the other thing is ad testing that I did on Amazon ads that was more helpful to me was where I didn't rely on my brain to figure out which where to place the ads. I relied on Amazon's brain. So you can choose authors and try to, like, you know, I've got a zombie apocalypse that is structured a whole lot like The Stand. There are jokes about The Stand in there. There's references to it. So, you know, if you're a Stephen King fan, you would love that, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, oh, I'll just put on The Stand. But if I use the other option where I don't target particular authors and try to say, and, you know, you should buy this because you love that. If you love this, maybe like this. Instead of doing that, I relied on clicking on Amazon to do the job for me, and also to run it as fast as they can, as opposed to stretching it out. And that was what worked much better than if I was choosing the product I was trying to piggyback on.
Oh my God, Zoe, what?
I'm sorry. So I just went to look at my AMS dashboard, and okay, here's some interesting data backing up what Robert said. So if I let Amazon, I have one ad where I let Amazon do their picking of where they show it. That has way more impressions than the ads where I've picked the keywords. So they're showing it to way more people, but my click rate is better. On the ads where I've picked the targets, I'm not spending as much money because they're not, like, the total click rate is higher for their ad, but the click percentage is better for my ad. And it looks like, I mean, I'm just guessing here, but it does seem like that means that I get a slightly lower cost per click on the ones that I have set. But you have to, it's a trade up, right? Do you want to pay less cost per click, which seems like you're winning in theory? But if their ad is showing it to a lot more people, in the end, that's the best goal, right? So I'm going to run a couple more ads where I let them pick. I only have the one so far. I'm going to run some more and see if that makes a difference.
Awesome.
We should probably move on to another topic because we have 5 when we're already 36 minutes in.
Well, let's leave Amazon then and go up. We said we were going to segue into Facebook. So Facebook has recently admitted to flaws in the metrics that they report to advertisers, that they've overstated the reach of their Facebook pages and instant articles, as well as its count of referrals to apps from ads. And this is the information that advertisers use to determine the return on investment and the success of their Facebook advertising. And the company has also said that page owners should be prepared to see their 28-day reach fall by about 55%. But Facebook have promised more transparency going forward. So who wants to comment on this one?
I am very disappointed by this news. In the article, it said that this was a sackable offense. And they're going to have more transparency going forward. Good for them. Where's my refund check?
Right.
Good point.
There's you have to be suspicious that they let this mistake go on for so long. I'm not saying that it was intentional, but if I'm flying a plane to Dubuque and I end up in anywhere but Dubuque, I want the money I paid for my air ticket back. Their only defense, and this comes through in the article too, is that they're the only game in town. Like, I get an ad every other day for Twitter for Business. I don't believe in Twitter for Business. I don't think a Twitter ad's going to do me anything. Facebook, they have the tools, but I can't believe their stats. I'm very, very disappointed in this news.
Anyone
Maybe
else?
for that, I did my first Facebook campaign this month, and my reach was not as much as I thought it would be, and I understand why now. It's just crazy that they would just allow this to go on, allow us to pay, and then they say, well, we'll be more transparent. That's just like saying, oh yeah, we're going to screw you over now, but next time you see me coming. I'm like, that doesn't help. I pay you. Y'all got the pun. I pay you for a very specific thing, that you put my product in front of eyes. Anything less than that, I don't want the transparency. I want my cash. And so I think we're all in agreement to this. So this is just absolutely disappointing. But this is also the problem with having a monopoly. And with the hopes that the BookBub ads and the Amazon ads will improve. I think in the light of this, it makes the Amazon ads a bit more attractive. Considering.
Considering, yeah.
Well, considering now they've taken it out of KU, and even those who are wide can advertise as well.
Yeah, the article also states that this isn't the first flaw that they've found. It was just a few months ago they found one regarding their videos. And that they were unable to report those accurately either. So it's been suggested that finding that flaw has led to them realizing that there is ones elsewhere in their reporting systems as well. But you're right, Robert. I suppose I would also expect some kind of refund as well, especially because the inaccuracies, there wasn't as much of a return on the investment as I was led to believe. But as another author I talked to pointed out about this, as authors and business people, we should be keeping our own metrics. And if we're setting it up so that, for example, we want to direct people to sign up to our mailing lists, we have some reporting metrics there of our own. We can see how many people actually did sign up. So that is, something that Facebook might not be able to accurately report on, but something we can see the actual result of as well.
I think that the key is that with any advertising dollars we spend, we want to be able to, track that return on investment. I think where it becomes particularly enraging is that a big part of the Facebook advertising push, both from Facebook and from some of the businesses that have profited off of that, like internet marketing, instructing courses and consulting and stuff like that, has been this idea that lead generation ads, selling your product or getting people to sign up for your mailing list is only one part of how you successfully advertise on Facebook. That you're also supposed to be getting people to like your page. You're also supposed to be boosting posts to get people to engage with organic content, stuff like that. And it's those two pieces, the liking of the pages and the boosting a post that is just like to make them think that you're like an expert or something like that. Those two things. And this is a little bit less for authors and a little bit more for other more like public figures. I think that people have probably spent a lot of money on two things that really can't be easily tracked, right? And we've been sold, I think, a bit of a bill of goods about the right way to advertise on Facebook. And right now, I'm not sure that I believe that right way anymore. This kind of balance of different chunks and it all builds a brand, and I don't know anymore. At the moment, I'm running a Facebook, I'm running 2 Facebook video ads because they are super cheap. And so there's no metric there that's easily trackable and to help determine a return on investment. And I'm running 1 lead generation ad to Prime Minister, which is again a book that's pretty easily cold sold with just like a click here and go to Amazon. But that's it. I've turned off all of my other ads that I was trying because I don't know. That's all of this comes down to I don't know if this is a good way to spend money.
Well, I guess we'll have to see what kind of transparency or opacity they provide us in the future.
I'm considering going door to door and refusing to leave until people buy my books.
So you're going to become a Jehovah's Witness?
I was just going to say.
Oh wait, it doesn't work for them either. Crap.
No.
You might get cold water and stuff thrown at you here. Should we move on then? Because we're running out of time. If we want to get to our giant, big, awesome, well, not so
Yes,
awesome
everybody stay
announcement.
tuned. And
But, yeah.
if you're waiting for that big news, I'm going to warn you right up ahead of time that when you receive this news, you should be watching this show on the toilet. Go ahead, Erica.
Lovely. And I promise we're also not trying to scam page reads by getting you to click directly to the end of the podcast.
That's not how podcasts work. We would if podcasts did work that way, but go on.
Okay, so let's you remember Barnes and Noble, right? I mean, they're still a thing. But
They're not still a thing, are they?
Yeah, and they're really starting to try quite hard now. So there's been a few items of news regarding Barnes and Noble just this month. So I'll list them and then we can discuss them all at the end. Okay. So the new Barnes and Noble store, you know, the one with the restaurant, or not really the restaurant, but the alcohol and stuff coming in. It opened in Eastchester, New York, just this month, and Nook. A new Nook tablet for just $50 has been introduced onto the market. Oh my God. And there's also been a Nook app update for iOS 10, which has come out, which is good. But I mean, Apple released theirs back in September. Dig. And but after all of this, Barnes & Noble Nook revenue is reported that it was down 19% in the second quarter. And they're blaming it mostly on the election. So, hands up, who wants in? First dibs? Really? No one?
Oh, you mean on commentary as opposed to
Yeah.
who believes in Barnes and
theory?
Noble? I have something to say about this, and
Okay, go for it.
and it was this: the promo reel that they run for this. Like, I have to confess, there's a podcast that everybody should be listening to. It's called God Awful Movies. It's where a bunch of atheists make fun of Christian movies. It is hilarious. And I really felt like I wanted to do that treatment to this promo reel, because there is a really key element to watching this ad for this really cool bookstore, where they're basically saying, we've got this really cool place to hang out, and I don't know what that was, shuffleboard or what the hell was that? It was like they had a little putting green there or something. We've got wine. We'll get you drunk. We will give you cappuccino. We will fill you up on sugar and salt and fat, because that's the only way that you're going to have any interest in books, whatever whatsoever. You don't care about books. We give up. We understand you don't care about books, but we'll get you drunk, and it'll be great. It'll be a great place for cool people to hang out. And as they're talking about all this, they're showing you this lovely bookstore and this lovely bar and these lovely croissants made of chocolate and butter and shit. And what you see is a totally empty building. There is no one browser. There's no one in this bookstore. This bookstore is empty. No one will. It could be burning and everybody would be safe. There is nothing there. And so as I was watching this, I thought, okay, so it's empty now, and unless you, if they've got a great Wi-Fi connection in lots of places for hipsters to plug in their laptops and charge their phones. I mean, I go to Starbucks every day. I'm no one to talk, but at least Starbucks is packed. And when I was looking at this, I thought, that's a really cool bookstore. I don't think this is going to save the industry. I don't think this is going to save Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
It's in the right direction. Not going to save it.
I feel better about this now, because I was going to say the same thing about the promo. I'm looking at it and I was like, and at 3 a.m. when they have those third-rate restaurant commercials, at least they get some schlubby-looking people to sit there and kind of pretend they're enjoying the space. You know, I'm like, they get their cousin Joey and his wife and a couple of kids and some other folks, and they just sitting there like, with the big old fake smiles and the fake big nodding, are like, oh yes, I'm very interested in what you're saying, and now we're laughing. At least they get those folks in there, right? This place was empty. It looked like an old club, you know, with books. Barnes and Noble. We're more expensive than the library, but we'll get you boozed up. That's what it felt like to me.
They really did need some paid extras to be in there. I mean, Donald Trump got paid $50 a head for actors to go in and say, "We're really happy he's here," coming down the escalator, and they really should have gotten some friends for this.
Right.
For this
They could have gotten $5 in a free Nook, or a couple of books, or a gift card to Starbucks or something. Just
I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Right.
Okay. Zoe had her hand up earlier. Let's check in with Zoe.
So I'm a little bit like I'm an outsider. I live in the States. I don't shop at Barnes and Noble, and I don't quite get why it's struggling so badly. Because up here in Canada, we have Chapters / Indigo. It's the same company, and it's very similar, I think, to Barnes and Noble. And the thing about a Chapters / Indigo is that it's always packed. Like, you go into a Chapters and there are people everywhere, and I don't know what they're buying, but it's all overpriced and expensive, and a lot of it's books. Like, you see people in the checkout line and they have like arms full of books, and it's right next to like a coffee cup that has their initial on it, and like a moleskin notebook, and I don't get what the difference is. Is it just like a cultural thing, or Americans have all moved online? Like in Canada, we have not adopted Amazon and the Kindle in the same way that people have in the States. So maybe Chapters is going to die like 4 years from now. I don't know. But it feels like there should be an audience for that. But if they can't remember to put extras in their commercials, then maybe they don't. Maybe they don't want people at their store. I don't know. But I mean, it's not like the model is impossible, at least in other countries.
What is the Starbucks per citizen ratio where you live?
Pretty high. I mean, I like not like Seattle levels, but decent. I mean, there's one 800 meters from my house, and then the next one is 4 kilometers away. I don't know what that is, 3 miles. And I mean, like, we have decent Starbucks saturation, and there's Starbucks in all of the Chapters and Indigos too.
I've same thing with me. I'm in the same city, and I've got a Chapters in an Indigo a mile and a half away in one direction and a mile away in the other direction.
50 kilometers away, I think, is the nearest one to me. And we have 2 bookstores and the one mall and where I live, so there's always people in there. Not always many, but and there's nothing
Erica's
for you to drink in there either.
There's a Barnes and Noble about 15 minutes away from me. Remember, I live in the country, and there's another one that's a little further away, and they are busy, but that's because there isn't a Starbucks close by. I mean, honestly, there is not a Starbucks anywhere near those areas, and both of them have a Starbucks, and so they're busy. I cannot tell you why it is that bookstores have died the way they have, other than the fact that they were just not. I think as Americans, we have gotten lazy to where we don't want to move our lard asses away from our computers long enough to do anything like go to a bookstore. That, and the fact that there is, as more houses come up, and one thing that the designers do not do is allow for walking traffic, at least here in Texas. There is not a walking neighborhood that's been built within the last 15, 20 years. You can't walk anywhere. You have to drive. And that changes.
It's a suburban sprawl.
Well,
I think the other aspect of that might be, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's also stupid hot in Texas. I mean, there's not many times you would actually want to walk anywhere unless you know how to have a portable AC unit.
Well, it's wintertime, so that means it's about 70 degrees. You can walk now.
Yeah, but that doesn't hold water because we're in Canada. We're afraid to go outside. So it's the same thing. When I lived in Edmonton, people would say, "Yeah, it's 40 degrees for weeks at a time. 40 degrees below zero weeks at a time. It's terrible. It's dark at 3 p.m. But it's just like Texas because you're afraid to go there, and in Texas, you're afraid to go outside unless you go from your air-conditioned house to your air-conditioned car to your air-conditioned office. I think the other aspect that we have to point at as far as differences culturally or as socioeconomic, and that is that with the recession of 2008 or the mini depression of 2008, Canadian banking laws are different. So the American economy was hit much harder than ours was.
Yes. That too.
So we're all blaming
Well,
Starbucks and the weather. Got it.
On that depressing note, what's the next story?
We'll go through this one quickly. It's not really meant to alarm anyone, and it's something that happened in September, but was only just reported on this month. So in early September, WordFence, you may have heard of them if you use WordPress. They're an IT security company that specializes in WordPress and WordPress related plugins. Reported to Automatic, and that's the people who own WordPress, that they found a major vulnerability that could have compromised the majority of WordPress sites on the internet. It was fixed within a matter of days, and the fix was sent out as an update. But if it hadn't been found, this is how your WordPress site could have been compromised. So the vulnerability was in the server's api.wordpress.org server, right? And that server is what your WordPress contacts about once every hour to see if there are any updates for WordPress or the plugins, if there's any core updates or theme or plugin updates, that kind of thing. And if they are, then it provides a URL to download and install the latest software to your WordPress site. So compromising the server would mean that any URL could have been provided instead, as WordPress does not attach a signature verification of the software being installed, and it will trust any URL or package supplied by the API WordPress.org server. And that's how your WordPress site could have been compromised, along with perhaps 27% of the websites on the internet that are believed to run WordPress. But it's fixed now, and they just reported it now to the public. So what do we want to talk about in regards to this?
I have two positive things to say, and since I hardly ever say positive things, I will jump in now and say two things. One is I have WordPress sites and I use WordFence. WordFence is fantastic. If you have a WordPress site, you need to get WordFence. There is a free version and you should be using it. It is astonishing the number of attacks that I've had on my websites, and you can block IP addresses and watch all these losers try to get in and use your site for whatever nefarious purposes they have in mind. And WordFence is a great defender. And they alerted WordPress to the issue, as I recall, and they dealt with it very quickly. The other thing I would also suggest is, although I have a bunch of websites, and they're all WordPress, a few free sites, a couple paid sites, my next move, I already have a Squarespace site for one of my businesses, and my next author identity, my next pseudonym, will be using Squarespace.
Okay. That's interesting. I have looked at them as well. So I assume everyone else here uses WordPress. Do you, Zoe? You do? And Krishawn?
She says yes.
Yes, I work for a company that specializes in WordPress specific hosting. And we heard about this and we kind of knuckled down. WordFence worked with us very fast to get this sorted, because the issue, as you explained, it's kind of sneaky, because it was kind of like somebody knocks on your door and instead of saying, "Who is it? Can I see some ID?" they just swing it open. And guy with like bad mask on, it's like, "Hi, I'm supposed to be here." Okay. And then he goes around, leaves out the door and comes in again. "Hey, I'm supposed to be here." Okay. And it's very scary, because this is the server, the API, the processing server is something that you depend on to make sure you have security updates and make sure that your plugins stay up to date. And it goes and it pings regularly on a cron, and anything could have come back. And that was really scary. But those that they alerted took care of it on the hosting side very quickly. And WordFence knuckled down and got a fix out. Actually, it was better than a few days. They got a preliminary fix out within 24 hours.
Awesome. That's great.
And a full fix within days, because WordFence is fantastic. And so I was, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I remember that. That was a day. That was kind of scary, but it was taken care of and it's now secure. So no worries on that. Change your password to make sure your plugins are updated and your security patches on WordPress are updated. And once again, that's the reason why you got to go to Escapist Reads and pay for Chris to do that, because if they early, it will release those security updates early, and he can go get them, put them on there, and make sure you're protected against stuff like this, because the majority of the people who were affected by this were folks that did not have their updates done.
Mm-hmm. It's a very simple way to find websites that haven't been updated. Just Google for whatever the WordPress version is that has a vulnerability, and that's how you find that's how you find your victims. So make sure you do keep it up to date. And also sometimes plugins might cause an issue. So it's one thing to keep them up to date, but you also should be seriously considering why you're adding this plugin. Do you really need it? Is it updated regularly? I mean, you can look at the change log to see if it is, and is it still being updated? Because if it's been abandoned, that's one way the hackers or the attackers, whatever you want to call them, can get in there. We also use cloudflare.com to handle most of our stuff. And I think you can get one website up there hosted for free. Okay. And after that, it's paid, or if you want extras, it's paid. Blair put us SPRT on that once we started running the promos, after he saw how many gigabytes of bandwidth we were chewing through. So not only can they help you with security and alert you if there is an attack, but they can also do extra caching, so you don't have to use up all of your hosting bandwidth. They can send it off remotely to other servers, so we can go through there. I've also heard that because it's also on other servers, even if your site goes down, they can still show it as your site to
they can show it as a cache. They have a very hardy caching system, and if your site 500, 502s, or 504 is out, that means the server cannot be reached. They can actually pull up a fully functionally working site from their cache, from their servers, until you can get your site back up. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And one other thing about the plugins, you really should be auditing your plugins once a month. You should be going through and seeing if you really need those plugins, and you really shouldn't have more than about 10 to 15 tops.
And if you're not using them anymore, deactivate and delete them. Yes,
deactivate, delete them, and remove the files off of your SFTP. Get rid of them.
Wow. That was educational for everyone. So I guess maybe we could, unless someone else has anything they want to add. No, I don't see any hands. Excellent. We should get to that last item, the one that, Robert kind of implied might be a little important. Who wants to say it? Should I? Since I was the one who kicked it all off. Okay, so our self-publishing roundtable will be coming to a close at the end of this year. Our final episode will be on the 15th of December at the usual time. But so you guys won't miss us, until maybe January or so. We're actually releasing double episodes for the next 2 weeks, and we will provide information on that on the website. So once again, the Self-Publishing Roundtable will be closing its virtual doors at the end of the 15th of December of this year. we'd like to thank everyone, our dedicated fans, our not so dedicated fans, the live listeners, the not so live but still living listeners who, find us months, years or later down the path. Thank you very much for listening, for watching, for commenting, for sending us feedback or emails, or even just talking to us in Facebook chat or however you've been communicating with us over the past few years. Thank you very much.
And not only that, but it does, because SPRT is going away, it doesn't mean that we necessarily are going away. From the ashes of SPRT, several new podcasts are going to be rising. And we're going to be, do y'all have names for y'all's yet?
I don't have a domain name yet, so I will not share in case someone steals it from me.
Okay. What about you, Robert?
I have a couple podcasts which I allowed to go to. It's called pod fading for people who don't know. It's where you kind of let it go for a while. But I'll be bringing at least one of them back. It's the All That Chaz podcast, and that is going to be the stress relief podcast. So a little bit of comedy, a little bit of nonsense, and a lot of useful tips from my new book that I'll be releasing January 1st. And that is a book about stress management, time management, pain management, and energy management. And so that I think will be the hook that will make that podcast soar like an eagle.
Gonna fly like an eagle. And I'm releasing in January, I'll be doing Mind the Gap, which is an interview podcast for freshman writers who are trying to put into work and comparing what they thought life would be like before and how indie publishing really is to them, what surprised them, the things that they were learning, and to be able to share their works with you. We're going to be doing that, and I will also be doing the Story Mother podcast, which is more world building, where I talk a bit more about Alizar, and there will be a story podcast as well, which hasn't been named yet.
So there'll be lots of listening pleasure still coming.
Yes. I'm actually launching a studio of podcasts, not just one. I'm gonna have my own radio station.
And we should really reinforce for people that right up until the last show, we're still going gangbusters, and we've got Pearl Harbor and more stories from World War II coming up. We've got Bob Mayer, a former Green Beret and current author of military and sci-fi military fiction. He's a best-selling guy. And for our final show, that double episode, we'll start a little bit early, and we'll have the Chris Fox back on the show talking about data science and how to use it. So we've got a lot coming up before the final episode. And do we have that one of those? Do we have our special guests confirmed for the last and final, the end episode, Erica?
No, he hasn't yet confirmed that date and time, but Zoe has.
All right, Zoe's going to be there, and I think we will have some other special guests, but Zoe will be sufficient even if we don't. But I do think that we want to give SPRT a fine bon voyage, and I'm looking forward to the night. It's December 15th. We were going to do it later, but we're going to do it a little bit earlier, so we have a full chat room. If you've ever loved SPRT, you want to say hello, you want to say goodbye, you want to comment, you want to send your adulations and money.
Tell Wade to publish that book. Yeah.
And tell Wade, yes, if you want to tell Wade to publish that book. And the thing is, we all want to tell Wade to publish his fucking book. So, hey, show up!
And also for those who have participated in the previous promos, the multi-author cross-promotion ones, they will be continuing, but they will be on a separate website, which I'm currently building, and it's not a WordPress website. Oh my God, what? But I will announce the domain, the URL for that one on the final episode, along with the podcast that me and X is coming along to help me out, that we'll be doing in the new year. Yay!
I didn't know you were going to poach X. I was going to poach X. Damn it, Erica.
I poached him a couple of weeks ago. Sorry.
That's all right. I know where he lives. I'll kidnap
So
him.
do I.
Yes, but I'm much closer. I can kidnap him.
Mm.
He has I have a special cage for him in my basement. He'll be happy.
You and Dave been talking to each other a bit too much. I think you've been sharing ideas. Okay, well, we should probably wrap this up. Thank you very much, first of all, to Zoe York for being on the show. As usual, where can we find you on the internet, Zoe?
ZoeYork.com, AinsleyBooth.com, Facebook if you want book stuff, and Twitter.com/Zoe York Writes if you want my political rants. You know, some people.
Oh, you've segregated them to one social media outlet.
The thing with Facebook is that they only put some of what you post into people's news feeds. And if I was finding that I wasn't getting very many views on some of the more political posts. And so now I just post the really important ones there, and then I redirect people to Twitter where I get more engagement on them.
Oh, I wonder if that's purposeful on Facebook's part. So, Robert, your website again is
allthatchaz.com. Chaz with 2 Z's, 2 Z's if you are nasty, and I know that you are. Oh, and also one more thing, now that I think about it. Robot Planet. It's a book.
Wow.
It's a big, thick book. Go buy a big, thick book.
or a big, thick ebook, right?
It's also an ebook, yes. But Robot Planet, the complete series, now in print, finally, just in time for Christmas.
Oh. And Krishawn, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at allazar.com, ALLAZAR.com. I'm also at Facebook.com/Alazar Universe. And I'm on the Instagrams where you'll find me all the time. Instagram/Alazar Universe.
And of course, since I still haven't published anything because I suck, I'm still pimping the self-publishing roundtable.com website, at least for the next 15 days. Yeah, and you can find all my stuff there. Thank you. And thank you, audience, for putting up with us. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, internets.